Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is Talking Music. Today on the show, we have Bill Domiano from Build the Scene and First Angel Media. How you doing?
I'm good, Randy. How are you?
I just wanted to start out by getting into some background and history, how you got involved in the music scene, what inspired you to go the route you went.
Um, so you have to go all the way back to like 1996. I was a freshman in college, and I had an assignment to make a website, and they gave us a template, and it literally said like insert your major here, insert your name here, and when you got done, it was just color background and text, and I was like, oh, this is ugly. You have to be able to do better than this. So I started to teach myself how to design websites, and one day I came across the website for a band called Hybrid, and the website wasn't complete, and it turned out that I knew their bass player and their guitar player, and I was like, okay, I'll use this as practice, and I designed a website just because I was trying to teach myself, and I sent it to the guitar player, and all of a sudden I was now doing the official Hybrid website. And then the bass player's brother was in another band called Sundog, and then I was doing Sundog's website, and then Sundog broke up, and the bass player from Sundog joined a band called Cage, and then I was doing Cage's website, and it just kind of exploded from there. And I started working with the guitarist from Hybrid. His name was Tim Henry. We did a thing called TH Entertainment, because he had some health issues and couldn't play his guitar, but he still wanted to be involved in the scene. And that split off into some other band websites and business websites. And then I started AK Music Scene. So we're fast forwarded to 2004 now. And if you go to akmusicscene.com, it'll still take you to a section of Build the Scene. So that's my original domain, akmusicscene.com. It's still live. And probably, September 14th, 2004, there was this kid named Chris Hawthorne, and his mom had gotten in touch with me. I started AK Music Scene in February 2004, and she had a website called bandsthrivingOnFans.net, and they were out of Texarkana, Texas, which, if you're not familiar with that city, half of it is in Texas and the other half is in Arkansas. So that's why it's called Texarkana. But her 14-year-old son was running his own streaming radio station, and it was all unsigned bands. And he got a virus one day, and he sent me a message, and he's like, listen, I have like 350 people listening to my show right now, or my station, but my computer is about to crash because it has a virus. And I said, well, I have some local music from bands that I did websites for. If you teach me real quick how to stream, I'll take over so you can fix your computer. And that was episode number 1 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. So, like, if you listen to the Pennsylvania Rock Show intro, there's a song in there called Walking Backwards, and which is by the band Creep. And I tell people all the time that everything that I've done in the music scene, I've walked backwards into, including the website.
Okay. I wondered if you could just tell me some stuff about each one of these things that I'm gonna read off here. Okay. First Angel Media.
All right, so First Angel Media is owned by John Lee Machika. We specialize in band photography, both gig and promotional shoots. We do concert video and music videos. We have a couple um, different sections. There's, I don't know if I can leak this. There's a new section coming up soon. There's a modeling agency, firstangelmodeling.com. Basically, we work with the Pittsburgh and greater scene, local music scene, just trying to help promote the bands and get their information out there, get them seen, get them heard. I am listed as the vice president, but I tell people my real job is just to make sure the website keeps working correctly and to make sure Jana's calm, and she'll laugh if you say that to her.
Okay. Build the scene.
Okay, so build the scene. Again, I walked backwards into this. I had been running the Pennsylvania Rock Show since September of 2004. I had the AK Music Scene thing, and then John and I crossed paths, and we were talking about working together. And I registered the Build a Scene domain, and we were going to kind of use it as like a umbrella where we put both of our stuff. And at that time, there was I can't remember the name of the group, but they were out of Austin, Texas, and they came to Pittsburgh and they basically audited the music scene. And there's this big document, like hundreds of pages, if you ever want to go read it. For those of you not watching the video, if you're only hearing the audio, I shook my head no. And one of the things that they mentioned was that there wasn't a one stop website to go to. So that's what I tried to turn Build the Scene into, but it's really morphed into more of its own media company at this point. Or I do the band photography thing. I have two podcasts, radio show, a live radio show, a radio station. I'm working with Music from the 412. Some of my stuff is going out on that station. It really is a one-stop station, one-stop website. If you stay there long enough to look, we have a venue list. We have gigs listed on there. I have classifieds for businesses that the music scene, like recording studios and light and sound, and like, if you look, it is there. You just have to look.
And the website for that?
Buildascene.com.
Okay. Pennsylvania Rock Show.
So as I mentioned, I walked into that backwards. The lead singer from the band Cage, which was that third band I mentioned, that the bass player left and joined another band, that was 2004. When I told Chris that I would live stream and take over his station, I didn't have a microphone. So I called Brian, who was the lead singer of Cage at the time. I was like, hey, I'm about to go live on streaming radio. I don't have a microphone. You need to bring me one. So Brian shows up and he and I DJ for a couple hours. And when we're done, he says to me, that was pretty fun. We should do that again. And I was like, okay, why don't we do it next week? So Brian shows up and there were probably 10 other people that were from different bands that showed up. And there was a mixer, there were microphones, they were playing covers because we didn't know any better. And that was episode 2. And a funny story, I just recorded episode number 657 this week. And Brian did some new imaging for my radio station, the same Brian, this week. And I sent it to my wife without telling her what it was through Messenger. And she didn't even ask. She listened to it, and her response was, this is still his fault.
Now, for the Pennsylvania Rock Show, does people reach out to you to come on that show, or how do you get your guests on that show?
So it's a little bit of everything. Sometimes I reach out to bands and say, hey, I just heard your music. Here's what I do. Are you interested in coming on? Sometimes there are bands that a member has moved on to another band, and it's like, hey, we did your show a while ago. when I was in this band, would you be interested in talking in my new band? And sometimes I get emails from indie labels or agents and marketing companies. Um, and so it's really, you know, and I'm sure you've seen sometimes I'll post on Facebook that says, "Hey, I'm looking to schedule March," and then I end up with March, April, and May. um, so it's, there is no real formula to it. It's just it works out, and it has for, wow, what am I on, year 18, 19? And so basically, if I reach out to you and you're interested, we'll do it. If you reach out to me and I take a listen and I think that it works for what I'm doing, then we're going to do it.
Okay. And you have something called Friendly Fire.
All right, so Friendly Fire, that one's hit or miss, and it's my fault. That is a live radio show on XRP Radio, which is a streaming radio station out of Scotland. What we do is Jonna from First Angel Media and I are usually on a team, and we go up against Tiz, who's XRP's owner, and Kat, who is his fiance, and we take like 6 tracks. We have 3 tracks that they have to match. They have 3 tracks that we have to match, and then we have a 7th track that we don't tell the listeners which team it's from. And there's a chat box, and they vote on which songs they like best. And we have a lot of banter that goes back and forth, and sometimes it gets a little out of control and they like to react to me reacting to them. I'm kind of the straight man in that group. And really it's just we like to harass each other and make it sound like there's a competition, but really who's winning are those musicians that are being heard here in the US that are from the UK, and the US bands that are now being heard in the United Kingdom. And it's just a fun show. On the next one, John is going to be eating death nuts. I don't know if you're familiar with those. So you've heard of the one chip challenge? Okay, so I'm gonna enrich you a little bit here. So the one chip challenge it looks like a big Dorito, but it has scorpion peppers and I forget what the other is, but it's super hot. Like it's like a million in some Scoville, and red hot's like 250 to put it. Well, the death nuts, there are 5 different bags and they get hotter and hotter, and the last bag is hotter than the one chip challenge. And for some reason we were talking about, and John was like, "I'll do that on the air," and of course the rest of us went, "Okay." And Jess from God Hates Unicorn has the nuts at her house waiting for Jonna to eat them.
Okay. You have something called 3 questions and a song.
All right, so 3 questions in a song. That was kind of born out of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. I have this bad habit of naming things badly, like AK Music Scene. AK stands for Ali Kiski, which is the valley I live in. Well, I quickly grew out of that. I registered that domain in February. Then I'm doing the Pennsylvania Rock Show in September. So I went from the valley to the state, and then I started getting contacted from bands outside the state. I've actually interviewed bands in Scandinavia and Portugal and Spain and Italy, and so that's why build the scene is build the scene, because you can't pigeonhole an area like I did in the beginning. But so what was happening was when bands would want to come on, I'm like, okay, well, the show is called Pennsylvania. Have you ever played a show in Pennsylvania? Do you have family in Pennsylvania? How can I link you to Pennsylvania? And I finally said, you know what? This is stupid. I know how to do this. I'm just going to do another show. And I did 3 questions in a song. And the idea behind it is I will talk to any genre from anywhere. I actually just rebooted it on the interview that I recorded last night, because I kind of went away from my theme for a while and it became another hour-long show. And I really want it to be a shorter one. So I'm trying to get back to asking 3 questions. Last night was 4.
And like what's the song part of it?
Okay, so I interview a band, and generally the questions I ask on both Three Questions in a Song and the Pennsylvania Rock Show aren't what you would hear in a normal interview, but I'm still asking the same questions. I'm just asking differently. Like, I will ask a band, um, if you're out on your first tour and for some reason you hire me to drive the tour bus, what music are we going to listen to in between stops? Well, what I'm really asking them is, who are your influences? Or I'll ask them, if there's a DeLorean outside your next gig, where are we going in time and what band are you going to hang out with? Again, that's an influence question. Um, but the idea behind Three Questions in a Song is I get a little bit of information about their background, and we promote one of the songs that either they've just released or that they want to give a push.
Okay. Okay. Build the Scene Radio.
So that one, again, it just kind of happened. There was a guy who was originally from Kittanning and Butler, which sounds weird, but his parents had gotten divorced, and one lived in Butler, one lived in Kittanning, Paris. I don't know where that came from. And he was the lead singer of the band The Hellfire Club out of Akron, Ohio. And he was trying to kind of build what I had going on with AK Music Scene and the Pennsylvania Rock Show out there. And one of the ideas that he and his partner had was to do an unsigned radio station, which I had been involved in from the beginning. And it kind of fizzled out before they ever got started. And I was like, I think I could do that. And that's where Build a Scene Radio came from. I told a story on the air Monday night live on Music from the 412. On StreamYard, they've now added where you can have your name and then like a subtitle. Well, on my subtitle, I put duct tape. And of course, they asked why it said duct tape. And I'm actually a teacher. And I have a friend who taught with me for a few years who used to call me duct tape. She said, because if there was a problem, I could fix it, like duct tape. And that's really how all of this stuff has happened. Someone's like, hey, do you know how to? And then I did it. The same thing with Music from the 412. Rocky and I were involved in the SOS 2020 PGH project during the pandemic, and we didn't really know each other at that point. And when it ended, he's like, hey, I have an idea that I think you can help me with. And he told me, hey, I want to do like an MTV station, except I want to do it for local music. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I think we can do that. And I told him the other day, now that it's been launched for a little over a month, it's like, hey, Rocky, I really wasn't sure if we were going to be able to pull this off. But we did.
So tell me about that partnership with Music from the 412.
So we're kind of, first of all, like in everybody else's eyes, this kind of just happened here at the beginning of 2023. But that conversation that Rocky and I had about doing it was in January of 2021. So we've slowly built up ideas, and it's really three of us that are behind it. It's Rocky's baby, 100%. It's his. But I do the website and social media. My show is airing on it. I figured out the streaming company that we were using, and then I taught Rocky how to use it. And there's actually a radio station that's going to start there as well. It's going to air major bands and unsigned bands. That'll start on March 1st. So any unsigned bands that are listening to this, if you go to musicfromthe412.com/radio, there is a submission form there. Submit your music so that we have some music to start playing on the 1st. But really, it was just kind of it was a match. We worked well together in the SOS project. He was like, hey, I think you can help me with this. And we did. The other guy who is behind the scenes, his name is Ray Mongelli. He does a lot of the editing and video work. I don't want his job. He has a hard one. And he does it very well. But really, I'm going there this coming Sunday to the studio, and I'm going to start to teach him how to do the radio portion of it. And I should mention that everything that I do, I've really taught myself. Um, yeah, from the beginning. Like I told you, I taught myself how to do the websites. Um, but you know, even working with Jonna was, when she and I first met, she was posting reviews and pictures on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I know how to make websites. So why don't you let me build you a website, and try and get you some more exposure. And now she has this huge media company, which is why I think I have that figurehead title.
Now, when does your show air on Music from the 412?
So right now, it's supposed to air live at 9 p.m. on Mondays. But we ran into an issue that we weren't expecting. And what's happening is they don't have the Roku and the Fire TV streams set up quite yet for the live. So it's only going live on the website. And for some reason, you have to refresh the website to get it to actually go to the feed. So there's some things that still need to be worked out. But all in all, it's still cool to look. Like the first night, I have a TV set up over there, which you can't see, but the first time I did it live last Monday, I had myself on the TV while I was doing it. I was like, this is so cool. Yeah, so it's Monday nights, and then it is also on the schedule for Saturdays at 9 a.m., but it has appeared at other times. So I have a feeling that it's going to end up being on the station more than what it is on the schedule right now. And, we're still in our infancy. I can tell you that I started a segment. We just did the second one. It's called Concert Calendar. And again, if you go to musicfromthe412.com, there's a button that says submit your show, and it adds you to a calendar. And then I do a calendar segment that will air throughout the week, saying, during this week and next week. So it's 2 weeks worth of shows. And it's just me saying this band is playing here. Here's the time it starts. And, here's how much it is. So, just some more free marketing and push for the local scene. And along those lines, and like I said, we're in our infancy and we're coming up with new ideas. Announced earlier tonight, Drusky Entertainment and Music from the 412 have a partnership, and there are going to be free tickets given away to some Drusky shows. We have one that we just announced tonight. It is the Winery Dogs at the Palace Theater in Greensburg on the 15th, which is a week from today, with We Came From Space opening. Very, very cool prog band from the Pittsburgh scene. It's really easy to enter. You go to the Music from the 412 Facebook page, and there's a post. You have to share the post, and then on that original post, you just have to comment and tag someone else that you think might be interested in trying to win tickets. Very simple. And then we're going to use a wheel live on the PA Rock Show Monday night. It's going to spin. I'm going to click a button, and it's going to stop on a name, and whoever it stops on is getting those tickets for Wednesday night. And that's going to happen every time Drusky says, here, we have tickets for this show. Come see me live Monday night, and we're going to give those tickets away.
I have a feeling that this is just going to keep on growing and growing as more and more people get involved with it,
There are a lot of people who are currently in the process of creating their own show that will be at it. I did not plan on doing a show. I was planning on just being behind the scenes, but I kind of do everything that's required to be on there. And I was like, you know what? Did all this work? I should probably just do a show. And, so we just took what I was already doing and tweaked it a little bit, and we're doing it live. My show is the only live show currently. And that's probably a good thing, because I would hate for it to have the situation that we have currently on someone that we said, hey, why don't you do live? And then it's not fully live. So I get to be the guinea pig. and I'm okay with that.
Okay. Where can we get a hold of you? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
So I'm on all of those. Um, Facebook and Instagram, it's Build the Scene Radio, and Instagram is Build the Scene. Honestly, out of those three, if you want a quick response, go to Facebook. Um, I do check the other ones, but not nearly as often. Um, Emailing me is probably a good way. It's bill@buildthescene.com. If you want to submit music, it's buildthescene.com/music-submission. But you can you can find it on the website a lot easier than typing that. Same thing with Music from the 412. Go to the website, musicfromthe412.com. There's a contact tab in the menu, and everything is listed right there. You just click on it, and there's a submission form. And I guess you could call too. You could call 724-568-7018. That is a Google phone number. So what will happen is I will ignore the call because I won't recognize the phone number, and you can leave a voicemail, and then I will either call you back, or if you're leaving something like a stringer for the radio show, I do that a lot, where you say, "Hey, this is Bill from the band Cage, and you're listening to Build the Scene." It saves as an MP3 file. I just edit a little bit and upload it, and you're on the radio. So that's an option too.
That's cool. That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, yes. Those of you that are fans of the scene, make sure you're supporting those local bands. If you go to their show, buy some music, buy some merchandise. If you can't afford to do that, find other ways. Share their posts, share their shows. All of that stuff helps. The major bands that you're paying hundreds of dollars to go see, they're making their money. Those little bands, when you're paying $5, $10, $15 to get in, they don't really see a lot of that. That's being split between the sound guy, the light guy, the bar, and the other bands. So if you want to help them out, buy their merchandise. That they're going to see some return on.